Hello, happy Sunday. Welcome in for our collective week ahead card pulls this final full week of November that we are closing out this 11th month of 2024. And we're really sort of picking up the pace now that we are officially in Sagittarius season and we've got the fires burning, starting to get things to move. And in some cases, we could be feeling motivated by that and inspired. We could feel burnt out, right? So wherever we are, especially these weeks that'll be, entering into the holiday season, which tends to bring a lot of emotion, a lot of activity for everyone in one way or another, however you observe those holidays or not. This week in particular, we have Thanksgiving in the United States. And of course, with all of these holidays and the things that are attached to them, which can be really beautiful and meaningful and sentimental, but they can also be quite heavy and challenging and triggering in many cases when we're talking about family and traditions and energies that are attached to holidays and the origins and so much more. That wherever you are in that, I wanted to bring in first and foremost our healing unicorn energy, the rest and receive. This is a beautiful energy that really gives me Four of Swords energy. The Four of Swords in the tarot, about that rest, retreating, resting, having opportunity for contemplation. And that's really beautiful, where we come full circle now for this month, where this theme had emerged for being about transforming from rumination, which would be the 9 swords, the monkey mind, the hamster wheel, the insomnia, the churning of these lower vibrational thoughts and analysis paralysis, to the 4 of Swords, which is about setting down those thoughts, those ideas, that mental activity, and just going within. So it feels like a beautiful bridge, here in this month that we really brought forward the 9 frequency for the Hermit, stepping into the energies of next year, 2025, a 9 frequency, that we bring that in now to meet you wherever you are. And we're going to sort of celebrate these beautiful decks that we've worked with all month by bringing in one last time the Magical Creatures Tarot. We're going to use those special cards to get our tarot ally for the week. I've really been enjoying doing that. Last week we had the Golden Egg. And by the way, Willy Wonka was on TV last night, so I had made a Veruca Salt reference about the Golden Egg card there. And we're going to bring back the Northern Animal Tarot. Since the last 2 weeks, we used the tarot deck for the magical creatures. So going to bring in a little bit from both and then finishing it off with an oracle pull from the Law of Positivism for just really putting that punctuation mark on this week. I'm going to talk a little bit about the astrological weather, really just one thing to point out to you. It rhymes with Mercury retrograde. But we're going to talk a little bit about that when we get into the astrological weather. And then we'll roll into these messages. And thank you so much for all of you that reached out throughout last week, where we had a sweep of major cards. I think that was a record for the Empowerment Sharecast to have all of our cards, 6 as a matter of fact, tarot cards, all major arcana, significant energy that we've just moved through. That alone earns us a rest and receive through all those energies. But I can't wait to see what comes forward here this week. But I do have all my housekeeping items up front. First and foremost, if you would like a personal card pull this week, please feel free to let me know. Of course, with the Thanksgiving holiday, my oldest is coming home from college on Tuesday, so we're very excited for her homecoming. So I will be in and out, especially towards the latter part of the week, because we are actually hosting Thanksgiving in our home for the first time this year. And so there is a lot of activity going on, but certainly happy to pull a card for you if you would like some insight into this week and, really wrapping out this this month, and ahead of December, which is going to be super special in terms of the decks that I'll be using, the elements that I bring onto the altar. We will be decking the halls over this weekend so that by the time I come back here next Sunday, we will have our holiday December space to welcome in winter solstice, Yule, and all of the holidays that go with this season of giving, and a deep opportunity for reflection, for going within, for really having that introspective look over this past year as it winds down. So there's so many ways for us to connect. I did share here the newsletter that I just sent out over the weekend. If you already received that, or if you would like to receive it, please feel free to let me know, and I will add your email address. It's not something I've done very often, but every year I set out with an intention to really explore that as an option for enhancing communication and reaching further to different people. So I will be looking to do that more in 2025. And then also I shared all of my seasonal offers that are all available right now. We're in a period of an early bird special booking opportunity for my biggest, most popular reading of the year ahead spread. Guys, I can't tell you how jam-packed this is with insight, guidance, awareness for your year ahead. I know many of you, we did this together multiple years, but at least going back to this past year, 2024, that it's been such a joy to have that there for us to refer back to month after month as we work together to take a look and see what had come up for you way back in January for this month, for next month, and as we've rolled through. So it really is a very comprehensive reading. It's 25 cards this year, so it's packed. And I do all the things, the astrological insights for the year. We get into the numerology. We talk about all of the elements that come forward, a color, a crystal, spirit, animal for the year, oracle cards, 12 tarot cards for every month, oracle cards for every season, and of course, an overarching tarot card for your whole year. So if you have any questions about any of the offers or would like to know more, please feel free to reach out. Check the links that I've been sharing because right now is a gift certificate giveaway. And what that means is all things that are booked between now and December 2nd. So for an 11-day period, I'm running from 11/22, Friday of last week, to 12/2, Monday, Cyber Monday of next month. Every booking, including the December Empowerment Pack. So if you want to come along for December, which is a fantastic time to jump in, like I said, to finish the year empowered, you will get an entry into the gift certificate giveaway that I'll be drawing on 12/12. And that's going to be a free 1-hour session for you of your choice, an Empower Hour with tarot or a color healing or completely customizable. So, if you are interested in booking anything with me in the near future or even into next year, you can even snag yourself a gift certificate that you can redeem next year sometime, but get that entry into the giveaway and at the early bird pricing at that. Okay, so we're going to get into these cards now because I can't wait. I want to see what we have coming forward, starting with our Tarot Ally for the week. So dipping into these cards where we've had some totems coming forward to guide us, I'm taking a look now to see what is going to come forward for us here for this last week of look, I'm already in the future. Last week, oh my gosh, not only was I all 11/22 on Thursday, like completely confused about what the date was, but my son's birthday was yesterday, November 23rd, because I'm recording this on Sunday. I know what day he was born, but I was thinking for weeks that his birthday was today, Sunday. Like that was just the day that was the 23rd. So I was walking around telling people, thinking about my weekend and what I had going on, assuming that his birthday was today. And actually it was yesterday, which is something I discovered like Wednesday of last week. So I'm doing all kinds of timeline jumping, and apparently I'm not really clear on what day it is in any given moment. So, here we are in the last week of November, where we're now choosing a card for our Tarot Ally this week. So just bringing in that collective energy. And again, wherever you are and whenever you see this, these messages are intended for you. Of course, you are always invited to take what resonates and leave the rest. That is how it works with a collective reading. There's always someone else there to pick it up. But the best way for you to get guidance is to have a personal card pull or session with me. But yeah, like I was saying, so many of you reached out last week about these major cards and how they were showing up for you. And, you know, of course, I shared my crazy roots story about my daughter's dental visit that went with the Hanged Man last week. I mean, so many things of tarot imitating life, and just somebody just had an experience over the weekend where I pulled a card and there was this reference to sweet pea. And I was talking about Bath and Body Works used to have a scent called sweet pea, and I was just happening to reminisce. And it turns out, not only did she know exactly what I was talking about because she had worked for Bath and Body Works for years and was familiar with the fragrance, but in fact happened to be out this weekend and went to the store and sent me a picture of the fact that they still have sweet pea and that it was there was a sale going on. So it was like, oh my goodness, that was something we couldn't necessarily have pinned when we were looking at her cards, but like how spot on it was for what she had ahead of her for the weekend and how it was tapping into her energy as well. So I always love to hear those crazy stories that we just can't make up. Okay. Tarot Ally, here it comes. Ooh, Magical Cloak again. We had this a few weeks ago. I think it was the first week that I pulled one of these. As I recall, we had Magical Cloak, we had the 7 League Boots, and then last week we had Golden Egg. Magical Cloak coming back around again, which is kind of cool because, you know, we say that first full week of November or any month, really setting the tone for the month, and now here we are on the other side. And, you know, just some different things jumping out at me, the key, the carrots, which I think the carrots are neat because they're kind of dangling there, you know, in the sense of a dangling carrot, but also, you know, things that have been unearthed as like pulling a carrot up from the ground where you can never tell how big the carrot is until you really pull it out of the earth. So when we think about what those carrots represent for this month, for the things that you have harvested, that you have unearthed, that you have unlocked, that you have unveiled with this cloak, you know, how is that showing up for you? So we'll talk about that. And now we're going to get into our 5 cards. So let's see. I don't know. I don't feel like we're going to have all major again, but I am super curious what we are going to have, especially feeling that 4 of Swords energy, the resting, the receiving, the retreating, introspection, and so much more coming up. Monday is the card that represents, oh, I felt it there, the week ahead. Well, one major to start us off. Wow, a beautiful version of the Judgment card, a card of that, you know, awakening, wake up call, resurrection type energy. Wow, really beautiful with them all kind of coming around this candle, this flame, and the frequency of judgment coming in here with that. So I can't wait to see what we have in the Northern Animal Tarot for that one. Of course, I am getting a little moth to a flame reference there. Tuesday is going to be a potential blocker challenge this week. Oh, there it is. Knight of Pentacles. Okay, so we have a court card coming in here from the Earth suit, Pentacles, that seed, those fields. This is definitely a card that we've seen this month as well. So we'll feel into that slow and steady energy as a potential blocker challenge. But then Wednesday brings in a midweek blessing. Midweek blessing. Another major, the Hanged Beast. So last week, it was the Hanged One in the magical creatures that had those trees with the exposed roots. Now we have a beautiful version here with the bat as the Hanged Beast coming in with card 12 of the major arcana. So again, we have right in the middle of two major cards, we have a court card, which does represent people energy, personality energy, yourself, others, individuals, aspects of relationships, which in fact, that is, if I have my dates correct, today's the 24th. Tuesday would be the day that Mercury stations retrograde in Sagittarius. So we'll talk about that and we'll see how that's coming in with that potential blocker challenge. Okay, Thursday is how we are growing. How we are growing. Knight of Swords. Wow. So 4 cards, 2 majors, 2 knights. Knights represent action. And wow, it's a blue jay. I love this. So speak of the swords, this is going to really speak to communication, expression, how we are growing now, right? So this is a quickness as compared to the slow and steady movement challenge of the Knight of Pentacles. So wow. So we have earth and air coming in here along with these 2 major cards. So what's going to be the tiebreaker here? What's going to be our 5th card for Friday? Wrapping up the week, wrapping up the month, really. I mean, we'll hit into December over that weekend, but this will be the last full collective card spread that we'll do for this month. Yeah, wait till you guys see. You may remember if you were with me last year, and I have some new ones too. All of the fun decks I have for the holiday and solstice season, all kinds of winter weight and the Christmas tarot, the Yule from the Seasons of the Witch. So many fun decks that we'll be exploring throughout December. Okay, there it is. Friday. Page. Wow, guys. So 3 court cards, 2 majors, 2 swords cards. When we were tapping into that frequency with the unicorn energy, the air element, the thoughts, the beliefs, the ideas, and this is really cutting through. I feel like there's some major stuff being cut through here because they're both 2 singular swords, not 9, not 4, 1 each, wielding those swords. And we have the bird kingdom coming forward with that. The blue jay and the crow or raven, both being strong symbols of expression, change, the frequency of being in this process from here to there. And pages are messengers. Knights take action. So there's definitely some change in the wind. You can see, and we'll look at these as we go. You can see the movement in those cards through the trees, the grass. You can see that there's wind, there's air moving here. So from this stuck position in the middle of the week, things really start moving and shaking here Thursday, Friday. So wow. Okay, cool. Let's get our final card from the Law of Positivism. And then we will roll into our astrological weather for the week with our one big retro star coming in here. And isn't that funny when I'm talking about clarity and communication and Mercury retrograde is anything but. So yeah. All right, we'll see. Mercury specifically retrograde in Sagittarius. We'll see how that may uniquely show up here and what we might expect throughout this retrograde season. So let's just see what's coming up now from this Law of Positivism, an oracle message for us. Beautiful card 29, bringing in the energy of 11, 2 plus 9. As I rest in the sacred womb, I heal. Well, now we have truly come full circle to our rest and receive, to this energy of going back to that center point. If you remember last week's card, which was from the Oracle of Awakening, we got that beautiful center point, being about getting grounded, being sovereign, coming back to a centered place. And here we have this beautiful energy of resting within the sacred womb. So there's really this beautiful incubation, gestational period that's really being initiated for so many people right now, which is right in alignment with the season, with these energies that we have streaming in where, it can be conflicted because yes, the Sagittarius energy lights a fire. There's more perhaps movement and quickening, and yet this call to rest, to receive, to retreat, to allow ourselves to gestate, if we will. So we will feel into that message for sure. Beautiful. I can't wait to dive into all of this. Let's get started with our astrological weather. All right, it is our one and only astrological aspect I'm highlighting this week. And actually, depending on where you are in the world, Mercury stationing retrograde Monday, Tuesday. So what this beautiful graphic is highlighting is just some of the ways that, we can work with this energy, an affirmation for us that we can tap into here. But what we have is the final Mercury retrograde of the year. Mercury is stationing retrograde in Sagittarius, and it's going to remain that way until December 15th. So for the next several weeks, Mercury retrograde is a highly intuitive time where we are guided to listen to our inner world over our outer world. Again, practice for hermit energies coming in hot with 2025, going within, introspection. And Mercury retrograde can sometimes create confusions or delays. And, it has that rap. I always stress, this is about being mindful, not fearful. It's very cliche. Mercury retrograde made me do it. Blame it on Mercury retrograde, ugh, all the things. But really, we're acknowledging the natural rhythms of how energies stream onto the planet regularly and being in flow with those energies and using them as the gift that they are, that we can utilize as a resource for us. So, in the midst of the potential for confusion or delays, along with it being considered not a favorable time to buy things like electronics or watches. So, thinking about some of those kind of gift ideas and things that you might be purchasing, just being very conscientious about contracts and signing agreements. And yes, travel as well can be impacted, of course, right as we're launching into a very highly trafficked time of the year for travel, for the holidays and such. Now, kind of feeling into opportunities for us then to really just sort of prepare for the ways in which this can present itself, and it is mental. It is about the mind. This is Mercury is in, as reflected in the Greek myth, the god Hermes, who was that winged, helmeted messenger of the gods, the son of Zeus and Maya. Hermes governs communication, travel, commerce, and business. And he is a swift, clever, adaptable, and cunning energy. So interesting that we have the Knight of Swords and the Page of Swords, because those are all energies that I feel very connected. And of course, like I said, they're birds. So very interesting to feel into, especially Thursday, Friday this week. But, in astrology, when Mercury goes retrograde, this is where we tap into this potential for our lives to feel confusing and out of order, communication breakdowns and such. But that's only because of this lack of attention and patience. So again, interesting that we have the slow but steady Knight of Pentacles coming in as the potential blocker challenge this week, because that's what's necessary to slow down, to be patient. Really this key to getting through this transit is about slowing things down, processing the areas of our lives that feel confusing. So to release what isn't working. So again, this is where the gift lies, in the resistance that we feel, in the crunchiness, in the things that feel tight and tense. We have an opportunity to really process those areas of our lives and then release what isn't working. We reserve the right to initiate those changes. Again, I'm feeling all this energy because the Judgment card is a wake-up call. It's really stepping out as your most authentic self when we lay bare these things that are holding us back. That are not enabling us to really step into our power. So we have to feel that contrast in order for us to become aware of what is out of order, what's not working, make those changes, and then we can move forward feeling much lighter, more confident, knowing that we've successfully conquered what it was that was ultimately holding us back. Hanged Man, right? So these are all our cards this week. This is really, really awesome. Now, again, the ways that we might feel that challenge, the downside here with this transit is that it does amplify restlessness. It can create misunderstandings and miscommunications. But hey, this is where we learn how to step into our power and to be clear and transparent with those singular swords cutting through. As it says here, cut that S out, right? It says, if it's not working, let that shit go. It's not worth your time, right? Prioritize yourself, create a healthier regimen. Be patient with your devices, like the glitches and the delays and those inevitable, technical snafus as a sign to pause and take a break. I ran into this throughout the weekend, things I was trying to do and, web pages not loading, technical challenges that are a sign that it's time to take a break, step away, reset, follow and flow with that. We are only human, so be sure to forgive yourself and others for making mistakes. And that's the thing, as you're coming across processing the areas of our lives that feel confusing, 3 court cards on the altar this week are bringing us back into our relationships with the peopling and the notion that this is where we do our learning. This is where we do our healing. This is where we do our evolving as humanity, is in the relationships and in those things that, we are learning as we go and can be stuck in cycles of repeat patterns and perpetuating things that we're acting out on each other. And these opportunities for us to step back, reassess, and glean new insights and awarenesses, which is that hanged beast in the middle of our week. This is where we have an opportunity to have that grace, that compassion, a forgiveness for ourselves and others for the ways in which we may have been perpetuating old cycles that were no longer working for us. So, just remember, each of us are going through our own versions of struggle and strife at this time. So if you are having a bad day, someone else, of course, may very well have it worse. The power of forgiveness can be a huge blessing during all of the chaos. We're all feeling it one way or another. The last thing we need to do is turn to each other and deflect that all off on each other. That's not going to help. So we have this opportunity to step into this beautiful place of forgiveness and transmutation. So yeah, Mercury retrograde gets a lot of hype, but just remember, there's nothing to fear. And you certainly can do all the things that you already planned to do. So Black Friday shopping, traveling to the in-laws for the holiday, whatever, go have at it, go with awareness, mindfulness. And so finally, the mantra here, I will not resist the inevitable complications of life. Instead, I will flow with the universe. I know that challenges are merely overlooked opportunities. Everything that we encounter is an opportunity for us to glean some gift from it. Like those carrots, pulling those up out of the dirt. Each one of them represent a nugget, something of value for us to learn, grow, heal, or expand from. So let's get at it. We're going to get into our cards now, starting with our tarot ally for the week. All right, let's kick things off with our tarot ally here from the Magical Creatures Tarot, the Magical Cloak, reappearing here from the beginning of the month to the end of the month. And it's kind of a beautiful full circle because, as a reminder, the symbolism of this one speaks to the veil of enchantment. And so it talks about this magical cloak serving as a potential talisman, bestowing upon its bearer the ability to traverse unseen realms and navigate through the veils between worlds. It offers protection from malevolent forces and serves as a shield against the harsh realities of the mortal realm. So the magic cloak often appears as a transformative object, capable of granting its wearer extraordinary powers or disguising them from prying eyes. Its presence in the tarot deck here serves as a reminder of the inherent magic that dwells within each individual and the potential for transformation and growth that lies dormant within. So yeah, I don't remember, what I was bringing in intuitively when we pulled this the first time at the beginning of the month, but now come full circle, what we know now, we didn't know what lied ahead. We were in the throes of Scorpio season. We were just coming off of, so many significant energies from the prior months that, now on the other side of things, we made it, right? We're here. And this, in fact, this cloak did prove to be this veil, this talisman that has helped us to traverse the unknown choppy waters of November, landing here as we are with this little satchel, the key, and the carrots. And I really think the 3 carrots, they really jump out to me as a symbol for, what we did unearth, through this transformative journey that we continue to be on. What was lying dormant underneath, within, that as we sort of plucked them from the soil, and they may have been hard to, and it's so funny because, of course, like I said, my dental story for my little girl was all about 2 teeth getting pulled, having to pull those teeth. And who would have known? This is exactly the energy I'm feeling about carrots. So I've never successfully grown carrots. I feel like we've always prematurely tried to harvest them, and they're just these little nubs. They could have this big green leafy, crown here, and then you're all this pulling and it's this tiny little thing, but I mean, come on, stop. Those teeth got pulled out, and the dentist and the assistant were like, whoa, those are some roots. Who knew that was all up in there, And so again, this is just my way of processing life and, intuiting things through the real life signs and symbols that happen day in, day out, just living our lives in a most practical, mundane kind of way. But, whatever we struggled to unearth this month, or however we tugged and pulled and whatever came up from all of that, we have that now here. And it's so interesting how they're just hanging there with week 2 of the hanged one showing up now as the hanged beast. So this is a beautiful energy coming in once again to usher us through this transformative journey and really acting as this veil of enchantment that's helping us to move through the day in, day out with a sense of wonder, with a sense of humor, taking things as we go. So that's what I'm feeling there as we kick things off. Let's take a look at our major card to kick off Monday as Mercury stations retrograde. All right, Monday is our kicking off of this last full week of November with another major card carrying over from last week. This is Major Arcana card 20, Judgment. And yes, in fact, what we see here are moths to a flame. So again, Sagittarius season arrived last week with all the heat, with this flame, with this fire that's bringing in a level of perhaps excitement or inspiration or just lighting a fire under us. Like I said, even burnout, however you find yourself in that spectrum, this Judgment card is bringing in a beautiful perspective. So it says here, a moth flies into the flame of a lit candle in the dark of night. Many moths fly close or far from the flame, and some wish to become one with the light of the candle. If you have ever watched fire light at night, the flickering and dancing can be almost hypnotizing. Each moth must make their own choices about how close they come to this bright flame. Darkness surrounds a big decision. It's your choice to move forward. No one can make it for you. Let go of all the old heaviness that holds you back from letting go and stepping into the flame of change. Ooh, that is beautiful. Stepping into the flame of change. Become open to a world that wants to give you everything with no judgment on how, when, or where. Trust is here, but you must leave all your expectations behind. Shake free of what was and live in the here and now. You are a cosmic star in the vast universe. Let the idea of yourself go so you can be in sync with the bigger plan of life's journey through the galaxy. Wow. I mean, listen, if I wanted to sit here and just talk about like the mundane things that could happen this week, I could do that. But these cards come in with powerful messages that must be seen, and really have an opportunity for us to dig in a little bit. And that is so beautiful because all of the dismantling, all of the stripping away and the releasing and the letting go. Remember, we had the death card 2 weeks in a row, picked clean to the bone. Remember that we ended last week with the bonus lovers card, which is all about choice. Having a choice. And as it says here, each moth gets to choose how close they want to come to the flame, right? It's their own choice. And so, it can feel dark and heavy around making big decisions, big moves, big changes, but it is your choice to move forward. And, I love this no judgment about how, when, or where. This is a big thing for us, powerful manifestors that we are. We also have an old, dying tendency to want to control, to hold tightly, to feel safe and secure, to have that perception, right? And so through that, we want to throw it up to the universe, all the things that we wish to bring in, the new, and then we want to get real specific about how we expect it to show up. Who, what, when, where, why, how. And this is where we kind of trick ourselves into this stagnated pattern of spinning our wheels. So this is what we're shedding. This is what we're releasing. This is what we're illuminating. And yeah, it's icky and sticky, and it can be really difficult to have to be laid bare to look at all that stuff. Again, traditionally, the judgment card is like Judgment Day, answering a wake-up call. In the traditional tarot, it shows people rising up from crypts naked and to the answer of an angel's call with a clarion horn, because it's like Judgment Day energy where you're laid bare. We're in this vulnerable position of stepping out like, here I am, all of me, all these different aspects of me, and here's what I'm ready to leave buried. And this is what I want to transform into in this beautiful flame of change. So this is really setting the tone. And again, there's a lot of other moths in the picture this week. We definitely have a lot of relationship people energy showing up here in everybody in our orbit, and everybody having their own choice how close they wish to get to this flame of change. Very powerful. Let's take a look now at Tuesday's energy for our potential blocker challenge. All right, Tuesday represents our potential block or challenge this week, as Mercury has now stationed retrograde here for the week at this point. And we have our first of 3 court cards this week, the Knight of Pentacles. So action of Earth. So this is tangible, practical steps that are taken one at a time. And you can see, and I'll just show you night to night. And what I love about the tarot and just, intuitive card reading in general is just how beautiful the color means something. What's happening in the picture? Steady. There's no air. There's no wind blowing. Here, we can just see that they're 2 feet flat on the ground, just holding, right? Looking. Versus this guy who is definitely on the move. We can see the wind blowing here. We can see the indication of movement of the sword. We see 1 foot poised. Both are lifting up off the ground. The trees are blowing. There's movement. There's action. There's wind. Here, it's just steady. plodding along, and we see literally the fields behind them. So, this is how we can feel into the energy of whatever the intention is. So we indicated that this represented a potential block or challenge this week. Knight of Pentacles comes in, feet firmly planted on the edge of a tilled field. So this field has already been tilled. It's already been turned over. Remember last week we had that beautiful death card, and the week before, with the wheat, the chaff that was left, no longer, we've already harvested everything from it, and this is what's left, right? Now that has all been tilled and plowed and turned over. So it's just standing there, right? The cottontail looks out past the horizon and contemplates the pentacle held gently in one hand, working on growing and finding it in the stillness. You are now the silent mover and shaker and long-term planner. Your messages will be heard in the changing of the seasons. So again, and I remember when this card came up some point in this month, feeling that as a big indicator of timing of things and challenges that are coming in, the changing of seasons coming right up. Winter solstice or summer solstice, depending on where you are in the world, coming up in December. So with that incoming changing of the seasons, there is this change that's coming, but there's this slow, steady, contemplative energy, which how might that be a block or a challenge for you? Are you feeling restless? Are you feeling impatient? We have week 2 of a hanged man on the other side of this. Again, that's that pause in the stuckness. And it's typically a non-voluntary stuckness, unlike that 4 of Swords that I mentioned during the card pull, where you set down those thoughts, you set down those ideas, those swords in order to rest, to retreat. This is typically something that not by choice. Delays, holdups, reroutes, things getting messed up, Mercury retrograde. So there can be holdups that are frustrating. Now is the time that I set aside to sit down and do this thing, on the computer, and glitches, snail's pace, really feeling held back and blocked at every turn. So frustrating. Or an invitation for me to redirect my energy, take a deep breath, take a walk, step outside, get in nature, just do something that is unplugged and away from something that I may be thinking my mind wants me to do, but yet there is something that is more aligned for me at this time that will foster more long-term growth, more big picture potential. And that's what it is. It's the long game. So we're talking about being the long-term planner. And I love that you're the silent mover and shaker. So it might not look like he's moving, but inside I can tell he's got a lot of big dreams and ideas. And it's funny because you can actually see little squiggles, little lines of movement, just a little something there, just really feeling that, maybe that indication of looking forward to leaping, looking forward to springing into the new, but it's not time yet. And we're pushing this off to looking toward the changing of the seasons coming in. So that can be challenging when it's not on our timeline and according to what we're expecting. So if that's how it shows up, potential delays, and, holdups and such, there is a blessing in it. It's literally, again, in the position of the midweek blessing that we see this hanged man coming in as a potential for us to see something new, something different, something from a different angle, from a wider perspective, looking out over these fields and really contemplating what it is that we wish to plant there in the new season. So let's roll into Wednesday as that midweek blessing with this in mind. All right, Wednesday's midweek blessing is coming in here as the hanged beast. So let's take a look at this guy. In addition to our moths to a flame kicking us off, now we have all the fireflies coming in all around this hanged beast. Now let's take a look. Wow, look at that. And of course, we'll see close-ups of these cards as I do the quick story reels throughout the week that I'll share here with the Audible Mystics take on these cards each day. But I just always like to flip the hanged man upside down just to see, because as much as it can feel restrictive, and you see him all wrapped in his bat wings there, that with purple pants and boots on, that we see these fireflies coming in and illuminating the crown. And so there's new awarenesses and ahas that come from the stuckness, that come from the delays, that come from the holdups, that come from the entanglements, because that's also happening here. There's something very interesting about the posturing of the feet and the way that they are bound by this rope that is definitely feeling like it's preventing movement between these heavy boots over here with the knight, and then of course these boots here on the bat. Put that there. Okay, so as we feel into the hanged beasts message in the Northern Animal Tarot, it says a bat hangs peacefully upside down, bound to a branch above a dark forest, while fireflies dance around in the dim light. It's that moment of peace when the sun drops below the horizon and things are hard to see. It is also known as twilight. You have been placed in an uncomfortable situation in which there is no quick exit. You must let all the control of your surroundings go. Watch, listen, learn, and become comfortable with your current state. It's up to you. No one can connect with you or understand your point of view at the moment, Mercury retrograde. So let this time move on, but learn to make peace with it. Some call it total surrender to the moment. Ha, easier said than done. Yeah, and whether this is something, because I'm definitely feeling, ways in which this energy is showing up for me. Oh, look, I put him upside down. I'm like, he's smiling at me directly. Hang him back upside down there. Sorry. He's peaceful though. This is the bat's normal state. So that's interesting too. Being hung up and being there, but he's peaceful about it. It's like, yeah, I don't know. In this moment, I know what I don't know, right? Like I know there's things I don't know. I don't have the answers to. And, especially how it is that, and again, if there are communication challenges or snafus and Mercury retrograde energy, it's best to just hang tight, right? Just let me say hang loose. I'm not going to say hang tight. Just chill. Just chill, because the more that you resist, the more you push, the more you try to guide it in the way that you think you would like it to go. Again, it's important to ask yourself which aspect of you would like it to go that way, because we are being faced with all those carrots that have come up, that we're identifying those different aspects of self, our patterns, our comfort zones, these ways of being, that these patterns that we've perpetuated, in most cases, unknowingly, right? Unconsciously, that now as we become conscious in the falling away of things that can no longer stand, then we have this opportunity to be in contemplation before we take action, which is really what we see coming in here on the other side. So, just feeling into the energy of this card. Yes, you've been placed in an uncomfortable situation, and there is no quick exit, no quick answer here. So be in it, right? Be in it and be in flow so that you can make an informed choice. And really from this heightened awareness, which is, what inevitably, when you sit with something, when you allow yourself to contemplate and consider different angles and perspectives, information and awarenesses will come. So that is the gift. That is the midweek blessing of really allowing yourself to just be observant, peaceful, and again, in a state of love for self and love for others, because the last thing we need to do is, and this is what we were talking about in the astrological weather about Mercury retrograde, piling on top of what is already confusing and tricky energy. Now, conflict with other that we're perpetuating versus allowing to just be as we recalibrate. So let's take a look now at Thursday's energy for how we're growing. All right, Thursday is how we are growing, which actually last week is the position that the Hanged Man was in. As we were growing in the stuckness, this week it's the gift, and now we see here that we are growing in this energy that the Knight of Swords is ushering in. So I'm going to see what the Northern Animal Tarot has to say specifically about this take on the card, and then we'll tap into, what's coming forward intuitively. So a blue jay moves fast across the wild landscape with a sword high above and cape waving behind. The armor shines bright in the contrast of the dark, cloudy sky. Pine trees wave in the wind, but they don't slow down this night. You are moving forward fast with strong execution of current ideas and beliefs. Strike now if you have more than enough power and energy, but also make sure you're not just tearing through life with no goals in mind. Yeah, so this is definitely creating a counter energy. So between these two, the long range planner, the one that's in the marathon, not a sprint, versus this guy who just is like, ready to rock, rolling. And in the middle, not so fast, hanged beast, right? So there is this push-pull of like, slow, steady, contemplative, really doing things very methodically. And then on the other side, there's this urgency and this sense of wanting for movement. And then in the middle, the hang up. So that's interesting because how we are growing is, we can feel that energy. And, so the knights are, when we talk court cards, and they represent different ages. So the pages being the youngest, then the knights, the queens, and the kings. And just in general, they can speak to young adults, and being in that period of life, which is typically very fast paced. There's a lot of energy. There's a lot of movement. Of course, practical. This is Thursday's card. That's Thanksgiving in the United States, family gathering, kids, teenagers, young adults, people, generations coming together oftentimes, so this can literally, from a most basic point of view, be highlighting a young person with a very active and eager energy in your orbit. Or, actually even more so, I've just been reminding you of you at that time in your life, right? I don't think any of us are currently in that time period, but if we think back, some of us have further back to go than others of when we were that young, eager adult with lots of energy and optimism, perhaps, that now we may find ourselves in a different place, a more seasoned place. But, I often say with family is my rock, nothing brings me back down a couple notches on the ascension frequencies, and again, I don't mean that as better or worse, higher or lower in terms of that, but in the floors of the elevator of consciousness, where family members may be on a different floor than we are, right? That when we get together and there's, all of the potential for triggers and inspiration from, old characters. And I don't just mean age, I just mean very familiar patterns and characters and dynamics that have been established, that we can very quickly leaping to meet that energy with something very strong to counter it. And this is where the conflicts can come from. So again, with communication being challenged, this is a time to step a little more consciously and deliberately as the Knight of Pentacles. But that's challenging. It's very challenging when we come up against, and one of the things I always say about blue jays is that, and crows actually, both, very loud, squawking, like you cannot ignore when one of them are going at it outside your window, that you can't not hear. And so if you have a very strong, loud personality in your midst, or an energy that's really persistent, that can really push our buttons. So again, or, guidance to not have that be you, as much as we may have to say, as much as we may feel, moved to a state of wanting to cut that S out, just like it says, there is a best practice in terms of ways to deliver that, that I think that the one steady, grounded energy that's here, and it can be challenging to embody, is that Knight of Pentacles, one thing at a time. What am I going to invest my energy into? Is it worth it for me to engage this particular conversation or energy, or to, push myself to try to convince other of something that isn't my place to convince them anyway, but I already know that it's futile in the midst of, communications being challenged. And also that every moth gets to choose how close they want to come to the flame of change. So, me coming at them squawking isn't going to facilitate that anymore, So there is an energy of sort of harnessing and balancing the aspects of a Knight of Swords, that we want to speak with truth. We want to speak with clarity, but we don't want to be impulsive, and we don't want to be harsh and cutting with our words or in the way that we come up to others. So again, channeling that slow, steady, and coming in peace energy, we will be best served, and communicating as clearly as we can. But sometimes it is best for us to just step aside again and reset before we attempt to engage in that. So depending on how that comes up for people, and I think just even in the collective, the ways in which we communicate, we have an opportunity here to grow into a more mentally and emotionally mature, seasoned, if we will, as I said, practice versus just, coming out there, swinging away with that sword and just, whatever is in our path that gets, sliced. So, but we'll see. We've got the Page of Swords to wrap it all up, and I feel that these two are very connected. So let's take a look now at Friday's energy. All right. Friday's wrapping up the tarot messages this week. Page of Swords with this crow representing, again, change. And this is the young people. This is the youth. These are the kids. This is this energy of a messenger energy as well. And again, things bringing us back into that age and that time for ourselves, the things that are coming up. Again, this is all swords energy, so it's connected into our thoughts, our beliefs, our ideas, things in the mind, Mercury retrograde, the trickster. So don't allow yourself to be fooled, but to be pulled into that type of mental jousting I'm feeling. Page of Swords says, a crow stands softly on the green rolling hills. Strong wild winds blow the trees and birds in the sky. Decorative clothing adorns this young sword-wielding bird. Ready to try anything exciting and fun, this sweet crow is here. Are you learning new exciting concepts and ideas, discoveries? Go for it. Try new things or a new project that keeps the mind young and flexible. How will you map out this exciting new territory? So yeah, it is exciting. There's so much potential. And again, we could be really hungry to take action because it has been a long period of deep, watery, emotional Scorpio season in the muck, in the trenches, sifting through, feeling the feels, that we're eager to turn the page. We're eager to take action, like get me the heck out of Dodge, like there's just like this feeling of like, and so that can be really tempting to just want to peel out of there. But I think that, in the flame of change, which is fire energy, comes this air to really feed it. The flame needs oxygen as well. So the air comes in to meet that fire, bringing us back to the Judgment card that kicked us off, to the Sagittarius season that we are in now. Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius. So thoughts, ideas, communication under this fiery energy of curiosity, which is totally the pages are curious, adventurous, they're ready for action, very impulsive potentially, depending on the suit, and swords is certainly one with a propensity for that. But this message is really feeling much more like there's a buildup of excitement to go for new things, trying new projects, things that keep your mind young and flexible. How will you map it out? And I think that, again, these totems for, again, the representatives that represent personalities, ways of being, aspects of your own being that you can tap into, the part of you that is very practical and grounded and down to earth and meticulous in the planning, is the Knight of Pentacles. Then we have the Page and the Knight of Swords bringing in a little more, fresh air, ideas, impulse, and, movement. So can we find a happy medium there with the Hanged Beast in the center, that all while I'm stuck here hanging, how can I sort of channel these different aspects of myself in a way that is creating a plan, mapping out this exciting new territory? Can we get excited about it? Can we feel that as we've been peeling back these layers, as we've pulled up the carrots, and we're going through all of it, can we feel like, wow, everything that I've unearthed is a key to the next step? It's a key to what is blocking or what I'm rocking. So there's this sense of, one way or another, this thing is helping or it's hindering. And if it's hindering, if I feel resistance, if I feel tightness, if I feel blocked, if I feel challenged, that's something that needs a little TLC. It needs me to take some time of reflection and contemplation in order to map out the new, which is inevitably exciting. It's coming. Even if we can't yet see it and feel it, we have an opportunity to really connect in, envisioning it through our thoughts in the mind, and kind of go on those curious adventures right there in the mind. Like, if I can't go anywhere, if I'm hanging here, let me use my imagination. Let me tap into these new, exciting, expansive timelines that are all becoming unearthed for me now. I couldn't see them before. The magical cloak now makes it possible for me to sort of, and now I've come full circle back in our Christmas tarot. If you did see all of my dental, sharings that I did with my daughter and her teeth, that we brought in Ebenezer Scrooge and the Christmas tarot, and Jacob Marley and the chains and all of those breadcrumbs, right? That's all back here on the Sharecast. I also put it all together and posted on my YouTube if you haven't seen it. But it's reminding me again of like putting on that magical cloak, and like the ghosts of, Christmas past, present, and future, sort of taking an energetic tour of all of these places where we can't be seen. We're not actually there, but in our minds, through this double swords energy that we have, in this hang up upside down, in this grounded pause of reflection, in this flame of change, what are we taking a look at as an observer, going back over those scenes, or perhaps right here and now in the present moment? And then really exciting is projecting into the future and spending time envisioning that, bringing in the highest available frequency and timeline. So again, feeling excited in the pause to really project out, instead of, yes, we dip into the past in order for context, in order for us to gather information, but we're not living there. We're not rooting in there, right? That's the part that's falling away. We're taking the best and leaving the rest, and moving forward with this seed of potential that we're planting. So I feel all of these cards really working together quite beautifully. And, of course, we're going to build on this and see how it unfolds as we move through the week. We still have our oracle card to check out here to punctuate our messages. So let's take a look now at the law of positivism. All right, our oracle card for this week is coming in from the law of positivism with this beautiful card 29. Again, oh my gosh, if I could only know what day it is on any given day, but like, is it the 29th? Let me think. 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. Friday is the 29th. Yes, I was just counting on my fingers. Yeah, so November 29th jumping out to me hot right there, but also 11 energy. So it's 11/29, 11/11, because 2 + 9 is 11. So this is a very high frequency day that I'm being pulled into, the Friday energy, but just noting that's just something that just came in. But of course, this is an oracle message for this week and for all of these collective energies that we're tapping into. So checking in here with the law of positivism, the oracle, it says the sacred womb, the first source of nourishment and healing, is where all life is born. This is the place we can return to when we need healing. There is a comforting and sacred womb within and around you to lean back on. Sometimes words or actions can't alleviate our pain, grief, or suffering. We need an unconditional, warm, and loving embrace that is accepting and loving. Sometimes we can't find this in others around us, and we need to return to the source of the whole universe, the nourishing void, to rest. Curling up here gives you the space to accept and receive divine healing and grace. There needs to be faith and hope to release into this womb completely. Let yourself be everything and nothing at all in this space. Release the need to do and give and be open and receptive. Cry into this space. Let your rage come out. Express anger and grief, and let this embrace take care of the healing and the transformation. So that's really beautiful and definitely acknowledges and speaks to the many, many people at this time who are moving through density, grief, loss, pain, expressing that energy, and how in many cases it is a collective labor of love, because this is something that I've tapped into and touched on over the many weeks, as grief has been such a key aspect to one of the emotions that is emerging for so many people at this time. That grief is an energy that as it moves, when it has a catalyst to be expressed, so whether we've experienced some kind of a loss or something in our life that triggers the grief, that we're grieving over something specific, often current event in our life, that all the recessed grief that's been repressed within tends to hitch a ride and say, hold up, wait for me. I've been here longer. I'm coming too, like this old grief that can be from, inner child wounding, from ancestral traumas, from past lives, and, collective grief that's being experienced, that we're all having the potential to tap into. And certainly those of us who are sensitive understand all too well what it is like to be carrying something that you may or may not even recognize or realize is yours. And so, this card is just really beautiful. And to look at this young, beautiful child, just again, contemplating, looking at these beautiful flowers and the growth that is made possible through the muck, through all that has come to pass, that you see the planet behind her, and it's speaking to this sacred womb as the space that we can go to heal. And especially if that warm embrace and hug and, connection is not immediately available to a person, that there is an opportunity for us to tap into that sacred womb. And so it's speaking here to some of those symbols that we see, namely the lily and the rose. And so it says the lily is representing higher consciousness. Also the inverted triangle that's on here, we see Shakti, the source of creation, the feminine principle, and then the rose, heart and womb connection. So a lot of beauty coming forward through the flowers, through the symbols, coming in with this card. And it's giving us some steps for resting in the womb. And I just looked down and saw a little phrase that we started with right here, rest and receive. So let me read these to you as a practice, or in a way that you can connect in if this is resonating for you with this energy of allowing yourself to rest and receive in the sacred womb. 1 is create a space on your bed or sofa with soft cushions and blankets, and immerse your senses with fragrant oils that nourish you. 2, light candles and turn off artificial lights. 3, put away screens and devices and turn on a playlist of your favorite healing music. 4, use any flowers that resonate with you and surround this womb with them. 5, use any crystals or other items that you feel called to. And then 6, Then, after bringing in whatever speaks to you there, rest, receive, and just be in this space, letting the space hold your emotions. That's beautiful. It's like, yes, this is very yin, feminine energy of creating a container, creating a holding space for those emotions so that they can feel safe and free to come out, to be released, to flow, because they've become very adept at perhaps hiding and masquerading. Again, as we come back to the magical cloak, that now that has all been unveiled, that, now that we have this beautiful awakening coming in, and it's beautifully painful, right? And can be very challenging to have to feel these feels or to experience the energy of this motion that must take place in order for these things to move. Energy must move. It must be in motion, which is emotion, right? Energy moving. And so the grief, the sadness, the loss, any of those lower vibrational, heavy, dense energies may or may not be yours. It doesn't matter. There's a beautiful opportunity for you to create a space for them to feel safe so that they can emerge and be released and transmuted. And so again, if that speaks to you, if that's something that you resonate with, or if you're, come into contact or aware of people who are moving through that at this time, there's just some beautiful guidance around how you can create space to host that, to facilitate it. Again, it's not you. It's not something that identifies you or defines you. It's a state that you are in. It's weather that is moving through, and in some cases may have been quite stagnant and very deeply buried, that now as it comes to the surface, there's this opportunity for us to, what can I do, right? I'm stuck here. Nobody understands me because when I communicate, it's, all the things that are a challenge that we talked about with all the Mercury retrograde energies, with any sense of disconnect that could be showing up there. Okay, well, I'm not going to sit here and stew in what I can't do. What can I do? I can create a beautiful, safe space to rest and receive whatever wants to come forward. So I think that's really beautiful. I'm going to actually spray the ancestral healing energy for that, because again, it is a reminder that you are not alone. Even if you physically do not have people in your surroundings where you may feel that embrace and that warmth, the ancestors are coming in here now to create that holding space, and their deep, deep gratitude for you, really stepping into this place of being the mover and the shaker and the transmuter of this energy. So again, if that speaks to you specifically for those who can connect there, but also just in general, what are you gestating? What are you creating that's, laying a little low, still in this formation process as we ponder? But soon enough, it will be time to take that decisive action. So, again, if any of these energies were speaking to you more and you would like a personal card pull this week, please feel free to reach out and let me know, and I will gladly pull a card just for you in the context of whatever's coming forward for you. And then once again, lots of new stuff out there. So I'll pop my link here so you can take a look. It's going to have all the seasonal offerings, but something I haven't advertised yet is the December Empowerment Pack is ready if you want to join. But December is very special because we actually have 3 moons in the month of December. I'm still deciding how I want to work this December 1st, new month, new moon. Am I going to do 2 full separate readings? Am I going to kind of blend those energies and do the extra card pulls? But no matter what, there's a little bonus in December for you to receive another whole new moon. It's a black moon in the sign of Capricorn at the end of this month. So it's an opportunity for you to get a little triple dip there. In the typical 3 readings that we do, we have this additional lunation coming in. And like I said, it's a beautiful time for you to really wrap it up, take inventory, and finish this year empowered. So if you've ever been curious about working together more comprehensively and really utilizing the cards as a way to empower you with insight and awareness, this could be an amazing month for you to jump in and treat yourself in the season of giving. But again, the gift certificate giveaway is happening now through December 2nd, which will be here next week already. Wow. So if you're interested in getting a entry or two into the mix, every single thing that you book, whether it be a year ahead reading, whether it be the December empowerment pack, and this does go for all my regular peeps. If you're up for renewal this month and you're coming in for December, you too will get an entry into the gift certificate giveaway. Check it all out. Every gift certificate that you purchase is an entry. So, I would love and I'm honored to have the opportunity to work with you comprehensively into the new year. Once again, the big thing to get in on is, and I have several already, reserved is the year ahead reading, 2025 year ahead spread, because I do those in the order that they are booked throughout the month of January. So you reserve your spot now, and as we move through the holidays and I'm pulling together all of the altar elements and insights and astrological guidance and goodies that I pack into a 2-part video recorded reading. It's crazy. There's so much in there for you to revisit throughout the year ahead. I will be reaching out to you with your personal part 2 reading for that with your, 25 cards that I'll be pulling. So definitely throw your name in at the early bird special pricing and to get your entry into the giveaway. So thank you so much for listening to my commercial, and I appreciate you all so much for being here. I'm sending you all much love, light, gratitude wherever you are in the world. We're just tapping into the frequency of thankfulness and gratitude